kicked your in-laws out of the house right after their daughter died. Like, oh God, I'm nervous. Happy apple picking day! Some really quick reminders for all of our friends. If you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And as always, just a reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is we've all lived different lives and have different experiences, different boundaries. And that's gonna impact how we internalize these stories, the details that we get stuck on, like those things. So we just keep that in mind as we're discussing down in the comment section, because there might be parts of a story that are very important to you that are not as important to someone else, just based off of what we connect with, what we feel seen by, you know what I mean? So, without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for telling my friend she sounds like a spoiled brat? I, 17 female, have been best friends with Emma, 17 female, for about 2 years. We met at a community service volunteer event for animals, and we're pretty much opposites in terms of finance. Her family, in short, is wealthy. Extremely wealthy. Like 7 figures a year type wealthy. Multiple properties. I mean, she's set for life if she wants it. I, on the other hand, am in a below average income family, and we've had issues with power, water bills, etc. I go to the free public school and Emma goes to private. She's generally a really great person. We have a lot of fun together and hang out almost all the time. My family treats her as their own, as her does the same for me. The only issue I've ever had with her is sometimes she just acts broke. Her and her driver will come around and pick me up and we'll go to eat and she'll say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna order anything. I'm too broke." I guess, sure, fair. Or she'll say things like, "Oh, I wish I had to work and contribute like you have to." As if it's something to dream about. She acts like me having to work and help my family survive is a dream she wishes she could achieve. I never liked that she acted like she got it, because she doesn't, and she never will. It's a struggle she will never understand. The other day, she picked me up, and in the car, she picked up a call from her father. She told him that the university she's applying to needs proof of his finances to see that he can afford it, and he made a joke, saying, "Oh, can't they just look at the house? I mean, it costs $3 million. She laughed and said, "Dad, it's this city. Everyone's house here costs $3 million. That really rubbed me the wrong way. I told her that she sounds like a spoiled brat. And if she wants so much to be like me and understand the struggle, maybe she shouldn't be making those kinds of jokes. She kind of went quiet and has been responding to me kind of dry. I don't think I said anything wrong. I think I just gave her the reality check that she desperately needed. So, was I the bad apple? Yes. Okay, here's the thing. I think you're being very unfair to your friend, because what you're complaining about, like, she'll never understand, she's so wealthy, she's so well off, she'll never have to struggle, blah, 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 blah. But like, she's expressed to you, she wants to understand what it's like to not be so privileged. Like, she said that. You might not have heard it in the same way, but like, you told her, or you keep saying like, she'll never understand, she'll never have to struggle, she'll never... It's basically the equivalent of like understanding what hard work is, and I think that's a very important skill. I think that's a very important experience for human beings in general to have, to understand what goes into hard work, what it means to like put in a day's worth of hard work. And she's expressed to you, I want to know what that is like. I want to feel what it is like to work for the things that I have. She said that. You're villainizing her for wanting the experience, but then also villainizing her for not having the experience. And that I feel like is very unfair. Like, it sounds like your friend understands she's very wealthy, understands she's privileged, and wants to know what it's like to not be so privileged, like wants to feel like she's making a life for herself, not just because her parents are wealthy, but because she's also like contributing to her future, is the vibes that I'm getting. If you were to have a friend that was just like constantly talking about how wealthy she is, that would be one thing. But you have a friend who I don't even think that what she said was a joke or like in bad taste or anything like that. Like, her dad made a joke that perhaps like really upset and offended you. But like, I feel like she just he was going on a joking spree and she was kind of like, Dad, no, No, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of jealousy and resentment that I'm sensing, which I think, is a normal human reaction. When you are struggling and you see someone has something that you want, it is easy to become envious and jealous and resentful. But like, this is your friend who, you said yourself, like, she's a great person and her family treats you like their own. I would be very cautious to not let the envy ruin a friendship. Because again, I really don't think there was anything wrong with what she said. I think like her dad made a joke and she was kind of like killing his joke a little bit. You know what I mean? First of all, he probably didn't even know the friend was there and was listening. Second of all, it's not like they demeaned anything or anyone that didn't have what they have. And again, if anyone was being rude or braggy, I would say it was the dad over the friend. So I do think calling her a spoiled brat for kind of making a humbling comment to her dad's joke was the wrong thing to do. Well, she's acting broke. What if she already used her allowance? Just because her parents have money does not mean she has unlimited access to that money. It's very possible they give her an allowance. We don't know what that allowance looks like. We don't know if it's a lot, a little, whatever. We don't know. You don't know. It's possible she didn't have any more allowance that week. So like, what do you mean you can't be broke? She's trying to act broke. Her parents are rich, but she used all her allowance. Like, what do you want? Other than the fact that like her family is better off than yours, I'm not understanding what it is exactly that you have an issue with. It's only coming off to me as like jealousy and envy. You don't want this to ruin your friendship with a good person, because again, I'm not seeing anything that your friend is doing or saying that I would consider unacceptable. I have known many people who never really had to work for anything in their lives. And when we all grew up and it came time to work as an adult, like it was like a fish out of water. They didn't know what to do. Like they really struggled. Like that's a real thing. And even though, struggling is not a gift, but those characteristics, a good work ethic, understanding how to work hard, earning what you've created for yourself, like these are very important things that you kind of have to learn as you grow up, and it can be very debilitating for adults to not have those assets. So yeah, long story short, I'm going bad apple because I don't think that your friend did anything wrong, and I think that you are taking a lot of things personally that have nothing to do with you, and I am concerned about you ruining what sounds like a good and healthy friendship with someone who cares about you and sounds pretty grounded, considering her home life. Those are my thoughts. I lost my train of thought. I should have taken Adderall. I didn't. I should do that after this episode. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for bailing on the family cruise? My sister-in-law and I were planning to go on a cruise together with our husbands. Her husband is my brother. We are all in our 40s. She booked their cruise and I hadn't booked mine yet because I was busy, but I was going to. I guess she thought we already booked ours, but again, I just got busy. As we were texting about the cruise, she texted me that she invited 2 other couples to go and they booked too. I didn't know any of these people. And this isn't the first time that she's invited people we don't know to functions, like dinners out. I mean, I thought this was just gonna be the 4 of us. Many times when other people are invited, my husband and I are just kind of cast aside and tend to feel like fifth wheels. But we still always pay for our own dinners and try to be good sports about it. My husband no longer wants to go, and frankly, neither do I. If we'd planned on other couples going and invited some friends that we know, that would be one thing, but we hadn't. Not one time in our plans was inviting others mentioned. Now we just got thrown in with people that they've known for years and we don't know at all, so we decided we don't want to go on an expensive cruise, not to mention take the time off work with strangers. I told her we've decided not to go, but to have fun with her friends. It was really hurtful, but we're trying to be good sports about it and not cause a fuss. She doesn't understand why we don't want to go and is now upset with us. She doesn't think it's any big deal to invite others. My husband and I would never dream of imposing on strangers, even for dinner, without first discussing it with folks we made the original plans with. Now I'm worried that I might be the bad apple. I guess maybe I could be considered a jerk for trying to control who she invites. But is this petty? Like, am I the bad apple for just choosing not to go because she invited other people? Ooh, I think this one's gonna have a lot of different thoughts, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I think we've had a similar situation sometime last year. I remember being in Florida recording it on Jessica Vanelle's porch, like talking about this scenario. I'm kind of gonna go crabapple personally, and here's why. Different kinds of people when you make plans. There are people who are like the more the merrier people, and there are people who are not. Like, I'm a the more the merrier person. If I'm going to dinner, or if I'm like going on a trip or whatever, and I'm doing a friend's thing, I want all the people that I love to be there because I love them. Why would my other friends not love those other friends? Like, why can't we all love each other together? If I think all of you are great, I'm going to assume you will all think each other is great. And I want everyone to feel included and loved and a part of. And I love when different groups in my life meet and like each other and get along and hang out. Like, it makes me so happy. Genuinely, it makes me so happy. Right? If I think someone's a good person, I'm not going to assume that the people they hang out with are bad people. Like, I think you're a good person. I think you're going to associate yourself with good people. So, like, I would love if you're doing, like, if Sarah, for example, one of my best friends, Sarah, she was like, oh, I'm doing XYZ with a bunch of friends. You should come. I'm going to assume, well, I love you. I think you're a great person. Of course, I assume the people that you're doing this with are also great people. Come on, Milo. Oh, a good jump. Good jump, baby. Oh, my sweet love. Here's the thing. As I was reading, I'm reading about how much you don't like being around other people and you don't like feeling like you have to compete for attention, which it honestly feels a little red flaggy to me to say, if I can't be your number one priority on this vacation, I don't want to go. Well, like, I don't know how many of you guys have been on a cruise before. There's a lot of things to do on those boats, and there's a lot of different excursions. So, like, if I was going with my brother and his girlfriend, and mind you, like, I love my brother and his girlfriend. I already call his girlfriend my sister. That's my sister. If we all went on a cruise and they wanted to do an activity that I didn't really want to do, I'd be like, you go do the activity. I'm going to go do another one. And if I was made to feel like it was my job to entertain them the whole time, I wouldn't love that. I wouldn't love that for anybody. Like, if I'm going on a vacation, I want to enjoy my vacation. My job is not to just entertain another couple the entire time. I want to do the stuff that I want to do too. Hi, baby, you back? So I don't really love that they're like, well, if they make other friends or if they have other friends on the boat, like, we're not going to be their priority. I don't want to go. And they're just bailing on the whole thing. Like, that's, like, it would be one thing if you were like, oh, they invited these friends and we don't like those friends and they're bad people. No, like, your concern was, well, sometimes we feel cast aside. Well, like, I didn't see anything in there that was you expressing to your sister-in-law, to your brother, that you felt that way. So if you're not going to communicate that, I don't know what to tell you. If it was just the four of you and then your sister-in-law and brother-in-law made friends on the boat, would that also be a problem? Would that also be an issue? And would you say that they ruined your vacation because they made other friends? Like, these are the questions that I have. You're welcome to go or not go on whatever vacation that you want. Like, you're not a bad apple for just deciding you don't want to be on this vacation. But the reasoning feels weird to me. And if you had talked to them before and expressed your concerns and talked about the issues that you had and they still didn't respect it, that would be one thing. But I don't see anything where you voiced that you felt this way. And it feels like you're pushing the responsibility of you having a good time on who you're spending time with. And I feel like that is unfair. Like, it's not like you're by yourself, you're with your husband. Like, it's your two's job to make sure that you both have a good time. I don't feel like it's other people's job to make sure you have a good time. And that's what it's like feeling like. That's the vibes I'm getting. If I'm misreading something, someone let me know, but I'm going crabapple. Again, you don't have to go if you don't want to, but it feels weird. Like, I'm not getting the best vibes from this idea. And, like, yes, you've said before that they've invited other people to your dinners, but I didn't see anywhere where you spoke up about it bothering you. So that's a moot point. I feel like it's kind of foolish to assume that you're going to do every single waking thing for multiple days attached to the hip of XYZ other people. Like, I think it's reasonable to spend time together on the cruise, but again, I think it's unreasonable to expect that you're going to be attached to the hip to the same two people days and days and days and days and days on end, it just feels like you're putting the responsibility of your fun on them, and I don't like that, which is why I'm going crab apple. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for going nuclear on my sister-in-law? Sunday evening, me, female 46, my husband, male 46, and our daughter, female 7, were invited to visit my husband's sister for dinner. She put on a spread of delicious food for adults, but our child rejected most of it. There was curried fish, eggplant salad, quinoa salad. You get it, not child-friendly foods. Our daughter instead wolfed down multiple pieces of a very crumbly bread loaf from a bakery. Our daughter, I guess, realized she was spilling some crumbs onto the floor beneath the dining room table, but didn't think much about it, because she's 7. We, the parents, were in a group conversation and just didn't notice. Admittedly, we should have checked the floor afterward and noticed and cleaned it up, but hindsight's 20/20. We thanked my sister-in-law and hugged goodbye and left at 7 o'clock. At 11 p.m., we got an email from my sister-in-law informing us that she discovered, in her assumption, that our daughter swept lots of breadcrumbs from her chair down onto the floor, and that it's extremely unacceptable behavior, and that my sister-in-law had to vacuum it up. She went on to say that she would have forced our child to vacuum it up if she saw it before we left, and that it's completely unacceptable in her home to act that way. She also said it's not the first time she observed our child leaving garbage on the floor without cleaning it up, and that it's not okay any longer. Moreover, my sister-in-law said she wants to address this directly with our child, in addition to telling us that we need to correct this bad behavior. It was literally 3 paragraphs long of histrionics and no small amount of shaming us as parents. We spoke with our 7-year-old who said, yeah, she ate a lot of bread and knew it was making crumbs, but she didn't sweep them onto the floor. It just happened while she was eating and didn't do anything about them. We spoke to her gently about being a considerate guest and cleanliness, and if you realize there's a mess, maybe we should clean it up after. No big deal. However, I was still very shocked and offended by the intensity of judgment and shaming in my sister-in-law's email to us. I waited 24 hours and simply wrote, apologies, we spoke with her. Thank you. My husband said that I went nuclear in my response to my sister-in-law and is angry at me about it. I guess, yeah, it's true that the reply is a different tone and terseness than my normal communication style, and the terseness was intentional, but why am I the villain when, if anyone went nuclear here, it was my sister-in-law who flipped out over finding some breadcrumbs on the floor from a 7-year-old? Who's actually the bad apple here? I don't think there's anything wrong with what you put, to be completely honest. What? Why is your husband mad at you for being short and blunt and not mad at your sister-in-law for saying she wants to personally berate your daughter? That's weird. That's so weird to me. Like, who has a dinner party and invites over guests and actually thinks they shouldn't have to vacuum afterwards? Oh no, an adult had to vacuum her dining room. If it was a huge mess left by a grown adult, I can see being annoyed and I can see a conversation, but like a 7-year-old? You want to berate a 7-year-old? And the fact that like the mom here is like, yeah, we should have checked. That's our bad. We should have made sure that she wasn't making a mess. We should have looked to see if she made a mess. Like, that to me is accountability. If she said that wasn't her problem, I would definitely go at least crab apple. I would have to see how the rest of the story was laid out. But like, she didn't. She was like, yeah, no, I totally should have been more aware, see if she was making a mess, blah, blah, blah. Who invites like a 7-year-old for dinner and doesn't have anything other than bread that the kid can eat? Like, that's weird. Have some dino nuggies or something. So I'm gonna go good apple for the mom. I'm going bad apple for the dad. Like, why are you upset at your wife for like a 1-sentence response and, oh, that's so nuclear, but like wanting to berate your 7-year-old daughter as the aunt isn't? Asking, hey, can I be the one to berate her about this? That's weird behavior to me. Weird behavior. And like, I understand that some people aren't used to children and the messes that children make, but like, I think it's silly to invite children to come have dinner at your house and be like floored that there's some crumbs on the floor. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me personally. And not even just floored, but like so aggressive and hostile about it. That's just, I don't like it. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for kicking out my in-laws after my wife passed away? I, 32 male, recently lost my wife, 35 female, to a sudden late night stroke. We took her to the hospital and we had to make the terrible decision of whether or not to maintain life support, and I decided not to based on what I know my wife would have wanted. Her mother took a great offense to this. She called me to my wife's hospital room and ambushed me with my wife's doctors. Thankfully, my doctor was unaware and stayed out of the conversation. More than 5 other members of my wife's side of the family were all taking turns questioning my decision and telling me that my decision was wrong, immoral, and cruel. There were some translation issues because her family mostly speaks Spanish, but trying to keep the context as close to directly translated as possible, but I stood my ground. My wife was a neat freak and was very aware, having worked in respite care, that what life like that is and what the quality of life is. And we've had conversations about how neither of us want to live that way. Now many members of her family are calling me things like evil, and my kids are hearing things like, and direct quote, "Your dad is evil." To complicate matters, my wife's parents and brothers have been living in my house with me and my wife and our 3 kids for more than 5 years. So I then informed them with how they've treated me and disrespected me and my wife's wishes. I no longer want them in my house. Now yes, lots of furniture in my home was purchased by them and they've helped us a lot financially, but I can't handle living with the memories of all those arguments. I'm giving them 3 months to get their affairs in order and move out with all of their things. Now they're saying that I'm the bad apple for putting undue strain on the kids. So am I the bad apple? Okay, this one's gonna be, people are gonna be very divided on this one, I think. I think depending on your personal situation, if you've ever lost someone before, if you know someone who had a debilitating stroke. Now, like, we don't have the information of the medical records. A stroke at 35, that sounds crazy. That's so young. I don't know what happened. I don't know the medical details. I don't know what the doctors were saying. I don't know. I don't know any details about what shape she was in, any of it. I don't know. I do know that my dad's family friend, one of my dad's best friends, had a very serious stroke. It was rough watching it, I'm not gonna lie. This man was someone who traveled the world with his wife. Like, I mean, traveled the world. Like, so many cool places. And after his stroke, I mean, he kind of had the mentality of, like a 10-year-old kind of. He couldn't take care of himself. He could barely function, as it was so devastating to watch. And I don't think he had any situations where he was on life support or anything like that. A lot of people don't realize that many times with life support, from my understanding, I could be wrong. So like, medical people in the comments, you let me know if I'm wrong, because I'm wrong a lot. But from my understanding, a lot of times life support just kind of prolongs the inevitable, is what I always assumed. And I know lots of people like who have said to their partners, like, I don't want to live with this kind of quality of life. If that were to happen, please let me go. Anyone in their right mind would have a very difficult time when their loved one were to pass. And I think hope, especially in medical situations, hope can be a great thing. It can also be a debilitating thing. I have a family member who has been in hospice for years. When she went in years ago and they said, oh, we're gonna assume a couple months, and it's years later. And there's been lots of conversations amongst people about, what do you hope for? You don't want her to pass, but she's not doing well, and you feel bad, and you don't want her having to experience that, but you don't want her gone. Like, there's not really a right answer. You know what I mean? And I think that it is normal for anyone to struggle with what is the right answer and what is the best thing. And I think that it's normal for anyone to struggle with whatever decision is made. Anger is a very normal stage in the grief process. I'm not saying that it's fair. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm saying that it is a normal part of the grief process. What I don't love about this story personally, and I'm not going to be surprised if anyone disagrees with me, is your whole thing is, well, this is what she wants, this is what she wants, this is what she wants, to not have to live like this. Okay, that's fair. That's valid. You can't tell me that what your wife would have wanted was for you to kick her family out of the house. You can't tell me that's what she would have wanted. Would she have wanted to stay in that state forever? No. Would she have wanted that to cause you to kick out her family? Also no. Your children just lost their mother, and yes, I understand that the words that her family uses around them matters. I understand that. I think what also matters is for your children to feel like they have a piece of their mother in her parents and in her brothers. I think grief counseling would be great for everybody involved. I think even going as a group maybe, or even just like with the parents, her parents. When people pass, there's going to be anger, there's going to be hurt feelings, especially like a traumatic passing. There's going to be issues. I don't think that kicking them out right after they just lost their daughter of her house, I don't think that's the way to go. And again, when this whole thing is about, well, it's about what she would have wanted. Well, she wouldn't have wanted this. So I'm not going bad apple because I know that right now you're just trying to do your best. And I think that you're very concerned. I think it's very valid for you to be upset by their words and you don't want your kids to hear these things. I understand that. I still don't think this is the way to go. I'm going crab apple because I don't think you're doing it out of malice. I'm hoping you're not doing it out of malice, but I think grief counseling for everybody is a good idea. And I think that leaning on each other and being there for each other is what your wife would have wanted. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Okay, so I got a good apple, 2 crab apples, and a bad apple. At least that's what I got. I would love to know if you got anything similar or different. Definitely let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And for your well wishes today, Mr. Bubby. So it is Constitution Day, Professional House Cleaners Day, and National Apple Dumpling Day. I love that. Apple dumpling is the one. That's the one I picked. I've never had an apple dumpling before. I need to go see if I can find where I can purchase one and try it and see how it tastes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and hope to see y'all next week. Bye-bye, lovelies. Bye.